What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk the latest and greatest cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So it's just a dynamic duel all week long. So definitely check out previous week, like Shannon did an amazing job as host, and then his co-hosts Daniel and Chris. It was very entertaining all week. Like I like being a listener of the podcast. That's pretty cool. So sorry I'm back, everybody. But definitely check out those episodes this week. Monday, Tuesday, our topics. Wednesday, discussion. Thursdays, Ask a CISSP. I should have one up. And then Fridays, everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. But without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
So I just want to put it out there before I go into this story. So I know you watch the shows and you post them and everything. That part where it seemed like it was me saying I was trying to take over, that's AI. I just want to put that out there. Right? It was,
okay.
It was
gotcha.
You could tell by the eyes and the hands. They were weird.
They were weird.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from Reuters.com, written by the Reuters staff, right? And it's titled "Chinese Hackers Breach U.S. Court Wiretap Systems." Wall Street Journal reports, right? So like the Wall Street Journal actually was one of the first to report this one when it came out. But what it's talking about is Chinese hackers accessing the network of U.S. broadband providers and got information from systems that the federal government's using for court-authorized wiretapping, right? So this is one of those things where when it comes to what we do as a nation, when it comes to wiretaps, like you have to get a warrant, right? Like when you're doing these certain things. You're supposed to, let me say that. I'm not saying it always happens like that, but you're supposed to get a warrant. So usually when that happens, it's because, the government has something. They've gone to a judge and said, hey, this is what we think. They've gotten it authorized. Well, if you have a different nation state that's out there getting this information, they're not abiding by those same rules, right? So like before information from these wiretaps becomes public, if it ever does, if there's ever any credence to it, if China has this information, they don't have to wait for anybody to release this. This is where this can turn out to be bad, right? So then you start coming into misinformation and disinformation that may be out there, things taken out of context, right? And we've already heard about and seen AI, just like last week on here, right? We've already seen the AI where it can take something, it can take a snippet of something, and then it can, like, they only need so much, like they only need so much of the voice for them to make some things that are just like, wow, that sounds totally like that person saying that, right? Like it's like, I don't know if you guys ever watched the Ace Vane videos, but like Ace Vane, like when they do the Scooby-Doo videos that they do, they're dead on with those voices, man. Like they're just dead on. It's like I know it's not the voice actors that voice Scooby-Doo that are out here doing this, right? But like they've got it down to where it's like, man, this sounds like it's right out of the show, right? But it's very more adult themed. So folks out there, if you have not heard of Ace Vane and you go and try to find this, do not watch this around your children, right? It's very adult material that they come up with. It's crazy, but yeah, Chinese hackers out here breaching the wiretapping systems, right? So the big corporations that were hit with this, right? So big names in here: Verizon, AT&T, Lumen Technologies were the networks that were breached, right? And that's kind of a big three right there when it comes to telecommunications, right? So they think they've had access to this for months. Like this is not one of those things where it happened a few days ago. They think they have it. No, they think they may have had access to it for months on the company's infrastructure. Again, this is China having access to U.S. requested communications data that they could just do whatever they see fit. And it could even be blackmail. Like they may not release it, but they could reach out, on the side to someone that may be under investigation and may not know they're under investigation even, and be like, hey, this is what we have, you know what I mean? So what are we going to do here? You know what I mean? Like, what do we have, right? So it seems like you work in this certain facility, or you're in charge of a board or something like that. We need some help here, right? We want to build some of these new ships and planes that the Americans are coming up with, right? They're getting better. They're getting better at protecting their intellectual property, right, or their actual property when it comes to war fighting technology, right? Because there's a time where as we look forward, I mean, not to get into the downer side of this when it comes to war, but like China and Russia, man, like it's only a matter of time, right, before we're going head to head with them with something. And these are the type of advantages they like to take, they like to use, right? So now here's the thing: Beijing over in China, they're denying this, right? They're saying, hey, this is not us, right? We deny these claims. You guys have done this before. They're not the ones that are out here doing these types of things. But for it to be reported, I'm not under the assumption, maybe falsely so, right, that these media organizations, they have their sources, right? So like they have it on good authority. This is what happened and who's out there doing it. But nobody is safe, right? Like they're going after big telecommunications companies, right? Verizon especially, right? Because they do different reports all the time about different cybersecurity threats that are out there and things of that nature, and doing studies and polls out there to where they probably have some pretty good information in there, not just this wiretapping information, but if they want it, it can be had, right? We talked about it in the previous episode when we were talking about the U.S. Department of Justice and Microsoft, right? Teaming up. Like if it is something that's connected on the internet or if it's connected somehow, it can be got, right? And now it doesn't say how they procured this information, right? They just said that, hey, the infrastructure has been breached and they suspect it's been for months. So they could have just been holding on to all this stuff and they could have been reaching out in the background, like I mentioned before, but you never know. You never know what's going on. But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
I have concerns. A lot of them. The whole rigmarole. Please hit us up by all of our websites. Other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW. Hit me up personally, right security guy. And then if you want to reach out for marketing or sponsorship, or I'm sorry, rwilliams at ramcyber.io. All the above. No, so I have concerns in both directions, right? So number one, I gotta always give China their credit. They will refute something in the second in the media. Like Russia gets caught, Russia's like, you guys are doing it too. China like, we did not do it. These are false allegations. They're always quick to jump back on the media and say, hey, it's not us. The U.S. is lying. But no, it is you. You are the culprit. But no, my concerns being that one, that there's such a major apparatus. Like we all know about wiretaps. They exist. Like the court can order them. But the big companies being Verizon, AT&T, and Lumen, like that's everybody's basically phone. Like anyone can be got. Like you're the Patriot guy. So like that like the whole enactment was to catch Terrys before they were able to carry out their wrongdoings, right? So I don't know. I just always have a problem with the government able to listen into my conversations, but I know it's for good reason. It's just it's far-reaching of the government, but for them to not have security over said wiretapping apparatus makes me extremely nervous because now it's potential for insider threat, right? Like they get in, they figure out what these people have done or what they're being listened to for or things of that nature. So they're collecting intel from that. Then they can also flip these people to their side. They're like, hey, listen, the government's listening on you. They're gonna catch you. We'll help you get to China if you give us, like you said, blueprints to this, information to that. Cut us into these deals if you're doing something nefarious like drug trafficking or human trafficking, things of that nature, and we'll pull you out of there. They won't. Obviously, they'll use you up. But this is what we always talk about in the military when it comes to OPSEC, right? Like the insider threat is the people who are working for our near peers and things of that nature. Now they're able to reach into civilian crime syndicates and things of that nature, right? So it just makes me very weary because you just never know who could be a threat because now that they have intel that they're actually doing something nefarious, the U.S. is after them. So it's easy to flip the script and say, hey, you could be an agent of China now, and we'll pay you or we'll give you information to keep you out of harm's way, or we'll allow you to become a Chinese uh, asylum seeker, I guess you would say, right? If such a thing exists. So I don't like any of this. I don't like it.
So it's crazy, right? So like this is usually stuff we save for the Friday episode, but like I'll bring up an instance where I saw something. It was this TV show Elementary, right? Like it's a modern day Sherlock. And what ends up happening is they end up coming across this ancient artifact, like a jade statue or something like that. And so you have these different countries that say it belongs to them. So Taiwan was the first one that approached them, right? And they offered him some crazy sum of money, right? Which Sherlock's already rich, like his father's money and all that. So then they get approached by, and again, this is fiction, folks, but like I can imagine this being the way they go about doing this. They get approached by the daughter of a Chinese diplomat who's in school in New York that shows up to him and says, "Hey, just want to point out something to you. The GDP of China is 50 times what it is in Taiwan." Just putting it out there, you know what I mean? Like they're not exactly coming to him and saying, "Hey, this is what it is," but China's going to flex. Like, "Hey, we got the money to make this happen." Like for what one person would want, they can easily supply that. If they're like, "I want $10 million," China's like, "We have it around here somewhere," and they just pull it out of their pocket and hand it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So like, it's that's kind of what it comes down to. Is China has the means to make these insider threats a reality, right? If they want to go that route, and we're speculating. We're not saying that's what it's for. Nothing, as far as we know, has been released to this on this, at least to the public, right? But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, what's like not you jog my memory. I was gonna bring it up weeks ago, but when we went to St. Vincent, we ran into they're like China schools or something like that. So I saw it in Jamaica as well. So like China has these little satellite like schools they put up in different countries to teach Chinese, reach the Chinese population, but also like to you know build ties and things of that nature. But the one in St. Vincent had the Chinese and Taiwan flag on it, and it says something like the people's something of Taiwan. And I was like, I have to look that up, and I keep forgetting to look it up because China claims Taiwan belongs to them. So I was like, what is the significance of this? And does St. Vincent recognize that Taiwan belongs to China, or how? Like, well, how's that relationship built? But it had both flags, and it said China and Taiwan.
So Saint Vincent, is that one the British governed one, or I know those ones down there. It's different. Like which country governs?
Right. No, I think they're their own.
They're their own democracy. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're their own thing. Yeah. I was just like, that's interesting, but I don't know. It's that we're going down a rabbit hole.
I tried not to go this way. I said we usually save this for Friday, but yeah.
Right. But yeah. So I do have concerns. Hopefully, Verizon, AT&T, and Lumen get their stuff together, so that this doesn't become a bigger issue. But we'll see how that works out. But definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. So again, Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP, and Fridays everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. Hit us up by our website, go by our name. Hit me up personally at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. You can find me on pretty much all the social medias, and then you can email me at rwilliams@ramcyber.io. Stay safe, stay secure.